County deputies are searching for a missing 11-year-old girl.
To the very latest now on the search for a missing Winter Springs girl, 11-year-old.
We start with breaking news. Take a look. This 10-year-old girl missing now for more than 12 hours.
Ask any parent what they fear most for their children. Some may say failure, others sadness or being left out. But I guarantee you, most if not all of them will also say losing their child scares them most.
This family is heartbroken and very nervous as this search continues into hour 6.
It's the worst thing imaginable. According to the FBI's National Crime Information Center, in 2016 there were more than 88,000 active missing people cases. More than 4 times that were reported. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children says it helped law enforcement with more than 27,000 cases in 2017. The Black and Missing Foundation says multiply that by 3, and that's about how many Black women and girls went missing in 2014, 64,000. Today, the NCMEC says the numbers translate to 35% of all missing children cases being African American children. 20% are Hispanic or Latino. That's 2 minority groups making up more than half of the missing children population. John Lowry, VP of the Missing Children Division at NCMEC, says children of color disappear at disproportionately higher rates. But it's not just African American and Latino children that are missing. NPR reports as many as 300 indigenous women go missing or are killed under suspicious circumstances a year in Canada and the U.S. But there aren't any official numbers for this group. Multiple research sites report the government isn't keeping track of them. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children says it's working to stop the trend that seems to be plaguing way too many children of color. They need a lot more people to take on the Nancy Pelosi approach. When she learned the staggering number of Black girls missing in D.C., she said it made her feel like knocking on every attic and every garage to see where the girls are.
About sex trafficking and organ harvesting.
Okay. Peace and blessings, family. Moving some, bro. This is Brother Sharif with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power, Sharif Hamid on YouTube. Subscribe and share so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. For those who are tuning in on Facebook Live, please hit the share button and hit watch party. What that does is bring more viewers in to the live feed. So hit the share button and hit watch party if you are tuning in on Facebook Live. As always, as we open up in the name of God, the gracious and merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another 7 oceans to add to its supply, the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the exalted, all-powerful, all-wise. We confide in no other in our time of need, and we praise no other in our good fortune. He is one. And even if I lived to be 1,000, it would still not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. We thank God for the Metu Neter, oracles, scriptures, and writings that came on the continent of Africa thousands of years before any organized religion. We thank God for Moses in the Torah, Jesus in the Gospel, and Muhammad with the Quran. I greet everyone in words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. That simply means peace unto you. So once again, this is Brother Sharif with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power, Sharif Hamid on YouTube. Subscribe and share so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. So we have our good brother here, Stanley Hill, and we are talking about, or going to discuss, a very serious topic tonight entitled Sex Trafficking, Organ Harvesting, and Missing Women and Children. Normally I start out with a nugget of truth. A nugget of truth is just us giving us some history and some clarity, giving us some clarity about our history that isn't being taught in the school system and in places of learning like it should be. And I believe today's nugget of truth ties right in to this topic that we're going to discuss about the experimentation and the misuse and abuse of black bodies. So today's nugget of truth, and it's just a couple of seconds here, so bear with me. It's about a doctor by the name of Dr. Marion Sims in the late 19th century coming into modern times. He right now, his name is Dr. Marion Sims. You can look him up. He actually has a statue in Central Park in New York, and he is accredited with being what you call the father of gynecology, which is when they, with doctors who take care of women's health. He is accredited with being the father of gynecology, and right now he has a statue in Central Park in New York. This man became the father of gynecology by doing forced surgeries and experiments on black women during slavery time. He would go from slave plantation to slave plantation, experimenting on black women against their will with no anesthesia. He would take forceps and all kind of different tools, pin black women down on operating tables and force all kind of operations on them with no anesthesia. Wow. He did 30 operations on a slave by the name Anarcha alone. He would have to bring other doctors in and just people off of the street to pin them down on the table because they were in so much pain. And even some of the people who were a bunch of flunkies and coons that was pinning these women down said, "Doc, she's in pain. She's screaming and hollering." He said, "These N-words don't feel no pain." So he would do these forced operations with no anesthesia. And again, he did this forced operation on a slave by the name of Anarcha, 30 of them on her alone. Right. And this is how he perfected gynecology. And again, he has a statue in New York. You can look it up. His name is Dr. Marion Sims. I always bring my references and proof of what I say. It's in this book called Medical Apartheid, The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the present. That means it's still going on, and that's why we're having this deep conversation tonight. So you could look him up. His name is Dr. Marion Sims. He is the father of gynecology, and he forced surgeries and experimentations on black women during slavery time, particularly in Alabama, because that's where he's from. So without no further ado, we have our guest tonight, a good friend of mine. Please introduce yourself, brother.
My name is Stanley Hill. I go by Big QU or Quick. I'm CEO of Starlight TV and also CEO of Safe Clothing. This topic caught my attention about 2 or 3 months ago, and it just kept popping up on my Facebook, and it caught my attention, and I'm like, why am I just seeing it on Facebook? So I start paying attention to the news and the radio and what's going on in national media, and there was no mention of these women and kids being just vanishing off the face of the earth. There's no celebrities talking about it. There's no one outside of Facebook or social media that's really talking about what's going on. So I started investigating to myself, just looking stuff up, and I kept hearing that there was over 75,000 black women and kids missing in 2019. So for all these black women and kids to be missing this year alone and no one's talking about it was just crazy to me. So as I start digging, I'm realizing that this has been going on for over 10 years or so.
If not longer.
Not longer. So I decided to, get with Brother Sharif. He reached out to me, I reached out to him. And basically, we're just trying to give some type of prevention to what's going on. We're just trying to let people know, pay attention to your surroundings. Pay attention to when you park your car, what cars are around you. Pay attention to when you come out of Walmart or Target, if there's any vans parked by your car, vans parked behind your car, vans parked down your block when you send your kids off to school. If you could take them to school, take them to school.
Now, why a van? Why do you think they should be more cautionary with a van?
Well, a van, you can't see inside of a van. You know, a regular car or SUV,
right.
If you're driving by, you might can see somebody kicking, screaming, or anything like that. But just pay attention to, your surroundings and never have that feeling that it's not going to happen here, or York is too small, or I didn't hear anything in York yet, or something like that, because it's happening everywhere. I read something last night where a woman said that there's over 75,000 black women and children missing, but I actually, when I did the study, it came up that it's 424,000 kids and women missing now. Black women and kids are only 35% of that 425. So out of that 424 people that's missing, only 37% are black women and children. But black children only make up 14% of the youth in the United States. So that number is incredible, for 37%. And I also found out that they don't have a chart for Hispanic kids. So what they do is the Hispanic kids and the white kids, they put their statistic number together to make it look like the number is higher. So if you check out the stats, you will see that 37% is Afro-American women and kids that are missing. So that leaves 63%, which you would think is white, but actually it's white and Hispanic, together. I was just, the biggest thing to me is like, why aren't they talking about it? And I see on Facebook and I see on media where they have arrested a lot of like black people for actually luring these kids in, grabbing these kids. They're finding them at hotels in Atlanta, hotels in Louisiana, certain parts of Pennsylvania. But these black people that are luring the kids in are the flunkies. They're the bottom feeders. I don't know how much they're getting paid, but they're like the bottom of the bucket in this major situation that's going on.
Right.
So
you're giving them a lot. I want to give them time to
digest.
To process
Okay.
all this. But for those who are listening in on your feed and mine and channel 16 Local Access TV, the call-in number is 717-846-5067. It's 717-846-5067. That's the call-in number. If you have any questions, comments, and we certainly want info, some feedback, anything that you have. This is very, very serious. It's not a dream. It's not Hollywood. This is real as real can get. And, the Hour of Power, this is what we do unapologetically. And you gave some powerful statistics earlier, a couple minutes ago, about how we make up a large percentage of those who are missing, but yet I think you said black children only make up 14% of the youth in America, and black people in general, we only make up about 12 to 13% of the total population in America, but yet we make up 37% of those missing. Is about what?
Yeah, that's about correct.
And again, we're concerned about anyone who is missing.
Correct.
But because as many white children are missing, our problem or our issue is the lack of attention of that many black children and women missing and no media attention. So that's our concern. But we are concerned about anyone being missing. We don't want anyone being missing.
Correct.
But once again, we are being left behind. And I just real quick wanted to add to the statistic about we make up about 37% of the children or the people being missing, but yet we only make up 12 to 13% of the total population of America. Even that number is skewed, meaning when they give these demographic statistics, so they say we only make up 12 to 13% of the total population, even that number is skewed, which actually bumps up that number. What I mean is when they say black people make up 12 to 13% of the total population in America, a lot of people don't know they're including foreigners, meaning Africans, Jamaicans, Haitians. Even though they're black, they're not black Americans.
Correct.
So that means our numbers in America are really lower. I'm talking about black Americans. We're not 12 to 13% because they're including foreigners, Africans, Haitians, Jamaicans, Caribbean. So we're really not 12 to 13, not black Americans.
Right. We're probably only about 8
or 9%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our numbers are low. And if you start taking out, homicide and, brothers that are locked up and all that, I mean, our numbers are low, man.
Yeah.
So, so the call-in number is 717-846-5067. I know you have a lot of information to share to really shine the light on what's going on. So the floor is yours, brother.
One thing that sticks out to me, like I was getting ready to get into about the people that are getting arrested, or you see their face, 15 people arrested in human trafficking, 4 people arrested in human trafficking, and the black people that they're using to lure these kids in is basically no different than how the slaves were lured here 400 years ago. The actual masters or slave catcher didn't go into the middle of the jungle. They paid other Africans to go get Africans and bring them to the shore of Freedom Town or wherever they docked off from.
It was a middle person involved.
Yeah, it was like a middleman involved for whatever their price was, or their money, or furs, or whatever they were,
and
getting.
They were feuding at the time, so they capitalized off of that.
Yeah, so
a lot of debate with that, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, so when you would have your kids thinking that maybe a white man is jumping out of a van, or don't trust this, is actually his own people. It might be his own a friend. It might be a parent that he knows, that he's comfortable with, that he's your mom said, I'm supposed to give you a ride home from school, or something like that. Like, it's so serious. You don't know what people would do for money, to their own people. Also, what makes this so powerful is that who is actually doing the operations? The people that's at the lower end, that's snatching these little kids up, they don't know how to remove hearts and livers, and who are the doctors that are performing these transplants?
So you're connecting the kidnapping and the people coming up missing to organ harvesting.
Yeah, that's one part.
Okay,
I'm going into the harvesting first.
Okay,
all right. With the harvesting with the kids is who's doing the medical operation? Who's doing the transplant? Who's paying for the helicopter fuel, the jet fuel to fly these organs to wherever they need to go? With organs, they have to be at a certain destination at a certain time. From the time they come out to the time they're put in, that's precious time in there. Who's paying, for this to get this job done? Definitely not the people that I'm seeing on Facebook that's 15 arrested in Alabama, or 12 arrested in West Virginia. These people don't know how to take out no hearts or something like. So what I'm saying is, it's a very big picture. It's a very big scale, and I think that's one of the reasons why we're not hearing anything on national media, NBC, CNN, celebrities, NFL, basketball players, singers, rappers, actors. They're talking about Tyler Perry's studio in Atlanta. They talk about all these distractions, Popeye's chicken sandwich, Donald Trump impeachment. Like you can see all this stuff on a national level, but you won't see on a national level that 37% of the kids missing are black. You won't see that there's 156,000 missing women and children, African American women and children in the country 2019. I'm not talking about the last 3 or 4 years. I'm talking 156,000 black women and children missing in the last 11 months. That's deep.
Right. Yeah, it's a biblical proportion. It's at an epidemic level, especially anyone who uses social media or views social media. I mean, like you said, every day I've known about this for quite some time. Especially when I was in North Carolina. But you said it's different levels to it. So someone out there, because before we came on the air, we were talking about how, especially in this area, that a lot of people are still in the dark about what's going on for whatever reason. Well, the reasons is all the things you just mentioned, all the distractions, Donald Trump, sports, chicken sandwich or whatever. So for whatever reason, depending on the individual, people are not really hip, to what's going on, or they think it's some kind of movie or something. But you're saying it's different levels to it. For someone who is just catching up on what's going on, they may not understand what you mean by the organ harvesting. Like what's the science or what's behind that?
So with organ harvesting, let's just say, for an example, you have a rich man or woman, someone that's pretty wealthy, that might be 89, 90 years old with a bad heart. He might want the heart of a 19-year-old African American. He already lived 91 years, but his heart is bad, and now he's willing to pay whatever he has to pay for the heart of a 19, 20, 21-year-old African American. I read somewhere that African American organs are the best. They're better than whites, Hispanic, so forth and so on. So he's willing to pay who's ever the human trafficker to get him that organ. It might be a heart, it might be a liver, whatever it is, kidney, whatever case may be, to get that organ to his doctor. Once the doctor gives him the call that we have the heart in place, then the operation is performed.
So that would still mean, either way you slice it, the medical field is involved.
It's huge. The medical field is 80% of it. If not more. 80, maybe 90% of it is having a successful transplant. You feel what I'm saying?
Or someone our age that might be unhealthy, which would make it even more expedient to, need an organ. You don't want to have bad health or be ready to pass away at 50, 60 years old. I mean, it's people at all ages with bad health.
But you gotta have have the financial, you gotta have the money to pull it off. Other than that, you have to be on like a waiting list. You have to
that's the key.
Match the blood types. I'm pretty sure like a lot of these young African American kids that show up at these hospitals shot up and half dead, if they don't have the proper insurance and they match the same blood type that some millionaire is waiting for their heart, then the doctor, they might not make it. That could be one scenario of how they do it. Or they could just kidnap you and, run testing.
That's what's going on on now. Like, what are they doing? And maybe some people that are aware or not willing to accept the organ harvesting, at the least we know sex trafficking, is going on.
Now with
people being snatched off the street.
Sex trafficking and human slave trafficking is also going on. So if you get snatched up in a van, you don't know which direction you're going. You might be going into sex trafficking, you might be going into slave trafficking, or you might be going into organ harvesting. You never know. These are the three major things that's going on right now. Sex trafficking and slave trafficking are the two biggest trafficking in the United States. They're bigger than drugs and they're bigger than guns right now. They're 1 and 2 on the list. What puzzles me in this country that's supposed to be so fair and great and strong and whatever the case may be, they should know which countries are acquiring for these slaves. You know what I mean? There can only be so many.
If it's not going on right here.
Yeah, if it's not going on right here.
We know it's going on here because they're catching them.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is when they take a 20-year-old male and put him in the slave trafficking, so they're sending him somewhere to become a slave, right? Whatever country that is, or countries that's doing this, you would think our government will already, well, they probably do, but would know where it's located at, what's going on there. But you never hear about them raided any countries, freeing 200 people that was pushed into slave trafficking, or 300 women that was forced into sex trafficking.
You just can't leave the country without no papers, a passport.
Right.
You know, that's not how it works. You know, you go to the borders, you got to have some kind of ID. So if they're taking someone against their will, who wasn't expecting to go nowhere, they ain't gonna say, oh yeah, here's my license and my passport, I'm getting ready to go to the Philippines.
Yeah.
So how are they, like you said, crossing these borders, getting on a plane or something without,
I think it's maybe boat already, or inside, but it's already,
it's an operation.
It's an operation, a chain from you moving from this point to this point, from this point across this border. Once they're across this border, now you know they might be Mexico, it might be wherever the case may be.
Yeah, the rules ain't gonna be the same.
Yeah, the rules ain't gonna be the same, and people are just getting paid all the way down the line, and it's definitely an operation that's probably hundreds of $millions or even more.
Right. And again, y'all are awful quiet out here. This is a deep topic. You don't gotta agree, but this is pretty much out here. It's not rocket science what's going on. It isn't like we're the only ones privy to this information. The call-in number is 717-846-5067. I think you got some people on your feed that may be making some comments. You willing to check it? You might want to adjust your camera so you're in more. And I'll keep on rapping. Yeah, our brother's going to check and see if people on his feed has anything to say. We want as many people to participate. There you go. As much as possible. And again, back to the organ harvesting that you were talking about. The thing about that is what we must understand is what makes it such a high commodity is anything in America can be bought on an open market except organs. If you want furniture, you can go to a furniture store. If you want jewelry, you can go to a jewelry store. If you want clothes, you can go to a clothing store. Almost anything you want in America, you can buy on an open market. But you cannot go anywhere in an open market and get organs, even though we need them to survive. You can't go to a store, a hospital, nowhere and say, oh, I need 2 livers for my uncle and a heart for my aunt. There's no such thing. So, but yet we need those things to survive. And like our brother said earlier, the only way you can get them is to be on a waiting list. But someone may not want to wait, or depending on their situation, maybe they can't wait. But you cannot go on the open market and get organs. You just can't. Anything else that you want, you can get. Clothing, jewelry, furniture, Whatever you want, you can get it on the open market, but you cannot get organs on an open market. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just common sense. There's nowhere you can go to get organs, so that makes it even more of a high commodity, especially if someone has the money to acquire such a thing. But again, since organs are not on an open market, they will be willing, most likely, to get them by hook or by crook and by any means necessary. Also, with the sex trafficking, it's sex trafficking going on right in Washington, D.C., right by the White House. It's been going on for years. That's a known fact. All you got to do is Google it. Right there by the White House, by Pennsylvania Avenue, it's sex trafficking and prostitution going on right there every day. So this is at an epidemic level, but we are bringing the attention to what's going on with our people, because it's not being talked about. So, brother, did anyone on your feed have any questions or comments that they wanted to share?
Basically, I seen a comment from Nate Knight. He said they have satanic rituals too, that they're, I guess they're grabbing kids. I don't know what they're doing to them. I don't know if they're cutting them open or whatever. I've never really looked up satanic rituals, so I don't know what's going on with that. Good friend of mine, my older brother, Chad Sterner, said, like you said earlier, it's not even really a race thing, because whites and Hispanic are being kidnapped too, and bottom line is, somebody wants a healthy organ, they'll really take it from anyone. You know what I mean? I see white kids missing, Spanish kids missing, but it seems like it's just the black kids that are missing. You don't hear nothing about it.
And again, we make up such a small, percent. That's the thing. Yeah. And we said that in the beginning, that we don't want anyone to be missing.
Right.
Every life is important. Every life is valuable. But does everyone in America have that thinking? Mr. Sterner may be different, but does everyone really value black lives? That's why they have the group or the organization, Black Lives Matter.
Well, we know everyone in the country doesn't value black lives.
Right, and that's why we're bringing the trying to shine the light on it, because it seems like no one else
cares.
No one cares and want to talk about it. For us to be such a small percentage of the population in America, but represent such a high number with the amount of people missing, 64, and actually that statistic from the CDC, it isn't women and children, it's women. 64,000 black women are missing, just women. So I would imagine that's anyone over 18.
Yeah.
So that's just women. You start adding in the children, then that's when
you get
your
the
number,
156.
Right. So we would, even though this is tragic either way you slice it, we would like it not to be a race issue, but it is. That is the harsh reality of it. It is a race issue, and it's nothing new. Like I shared with you last night, I learned about the organ harvesting way back in 2010, and you could share the story. Any viewers out there, all you got to do is go on YouTube and Google the murder of Jason Smith. Just put that right in, the murder of Jason Smith, and he was found in a swamp in Louisiana, and the Ku Klux Klan sacrificed him, took his jewelry, his Jordans, and everything. And then when his father went to the morgue to visit his son, his body was stuffed with newspaper and all his organs was missing. That was in 2010. And I was co-hosting on a radio show when I was in North Carolina. The radio show was actually out of D.C., but I would sometime co-host and give my commentary on the radio show. And I actually talked to this brother's father. Jason Smith was the victim. He was only 14 years old, found dead in a swamp in Louisiana. And I talked to his father. His name is Shadow. That's what he goes by. So this is nothing new, and I could actually take it back further than that, but we're going to continue on because this is about the information that you have.
Yeah, basically what I really want to do, what I came on this show to do, is to give y'all like awareness, prevention. Just pay attention to what's going on around you. Don't send your kids. It gets dark at 5:30. Don't send your kids to the corner store 8, 9 years old to get, anything. If it can wait till tomorrow. If there's not an adult with them, especially right now. If you could take them to school, take them to school. Pay attention to, like I said earlier, your surroundings. When you park your car at Walmart, Target, what cars are around you when you park, what cars are around you when you come out. Because I seen something last night where they said these vans are pulling up behind these women, injecting them, paralyzing them, and snatching them in the van. I read a story from this survivor last night where she was coming out of Target, putting her daughter in the car. A van pulled up, injected her. She was paralyzed. When she woke up, she was somewhere in a cage. She got caught with sex trafficking. She got caught up in the sex trafficking. She was endured with this life for like 2 to 3 months before finally she was rescued or saved. Her and like 86 other women. And this was 2013. You never heard nothing about it. It's 2019 and they still haven't found her daughter. Remind you, she got abducted with her and her like 8-year-old daughter.
That almost sounds like slavery. How they would kidnap us.
So even though she was rescued 3 months later, wherever she was at, enduring the sex trafficking, her 8-year-old daughter to this day still hasn't been found. And this was 6 years ago. And if I wouldn't have been digging and rooting last night, I would have never even came across this story. So like I said, it's all about preventing. Pay attention to your surroundings. Know what's going on. Talk to your kids. Don't go with such and such dad. I don't care if you know him or not. If I don't tell you in the morning that Uncle such and such is picking you up, don't go with them, because you never know who's getting paid. It could be your own uncle, aunt, grandfather, anybody that want to take the money. So you got to be careful.
I even seen something on, because people put everything on Facebook, and this sister, I don't know what city she was in, but she had posted, I think she did it like Facebook Live, how this man was harassing her. She was leaving like a Target, and he kept saying, and he was almost trying to get in her car. I think he was just a little loony. I don't know if he was in the sex traffic. I just think he saw something he liked. He was already a little thrown off. I don't know if you saw that or not, but it went viral on Facebook. He was literally trying to get in her car, and she went Facebook Live, and she saved a video, and then the local news, almost like News Center 8, posted it, because she saved a video and said, if you know this man, and he was real belligerent because he was like, turn off the camera. She was like, I'm not turning off the camera until you leave me alone. But she was kind of playing it cool because he kept circling her around the car. So I don't know if that was connected to sex trafficking or someone just a little off their rocker. Yeah. But again, she was in a
9 times out of 10, sex trafficking, they're gonna inject you and grab you.
They ain't gonna do too much talking.
Also, they got something going on where they leave like a card or look like a ticket, or somebody left a phone number or something like that on the windshield, and when you touch it, it paralyzes you. So if you come out in the morning on your car, you see something, don't touch it. You come out of Walmart and see like a letter or something like that stuck in your windshield, look around, get in your car, lock your doors immediately, don't touch it, go somewhere safe, call somebody, let them know you're on your way. Anything to bring safety to, because you never know, somebody could be following you or something like that. So, like I said, I was talking to people earlier today, and they had no idea. A good friend of mine, she said she doesn't have Facebook, and she's on Instagram every once in a while. Other than that, she just watches NBC, CNN, whatever the case may be. She had no idea. I told her I was coming to do an interview tonight, and when I told her the topic, she had no idea this was even going on.
Yeah, again, a lot of people are in the dark. And then that point you made about someone being, 2-3 men come try to abduct someone and inject them to something, that still circles back to the medical industry.
Right.
You can't go to CVS or Walgreens and say, I want a tube of something that's going to paralyze. That's something that only anesthesiologists have.
And for it to knock you out so fast.
It's nothing that you can get on an open market.
Correct.
So that goes right back to the medical field. If in fact that, I'm not doubting what you're saying, but without knowing the actual name of it, but it sounds believable.
I mean, I read the stats last night. So let's say you got Leroy from the projects that's helping grab these kids up.
Mm-hmm.
Where is Leroy going to get that injection? Someone has to hand it to him and tell him, hey, Leroy, when you grab the kid, when you grab the lady, inject it, this, that, give him a quick 2-3 minute rundown on how to use this medical tranquilizer.
Right, that's what it is.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
the main thing you said was, the prevention of just being aware of your surroundings. I think all of us have gotten too comfortable thinking we back in the 70s where you can send your children here or there and leave your children here or there, or you're going to go to Walmart, you're going to walk in and get whatever you want, and you're going to walk out and everything is going to be cool. We're not living in that time no more. Nowhere is safe for no one, not just black people, for no one.
Yeah.
We're just shining
white people,
the light.
anybody. Pay attention to what's going on. I'm not just speaking for blacks. I'm speaking for anybody. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to your kids going to school, your kids outside playing, even yourself getting in your car for work. You could be a grown adult and never make it to work. All these missing stories are not kids, they're not young people. They're, old people too, or I should say older people too. Another thing I wanted to touch on real quick is York, because, that's where I'm from. I love my city. My problem with York is they don't take things serious as they should. I'm not going to say serious at all, but they don't take things as serious as it should until it happens here. So basically what I'm saying is, I know you got people from York that look on Facebook and see this thing going on. 13-year-old kid missing from Alabama, 15-year-old kid missing from Baltimore, 21-year-old girl missing from Chicago. But until it says Stanley Hill missing from York, Pennsylvania, then everybody be like, oh, snap, that's quick. What happened to him? Then it's more like a hit home, but pay attention now before it hits home is basically what I want to say.
Right. That's why we bring
because it could definitely happen here. It might have not happened yet. It might have. But it definitely could happen here. It could happen in Harrisburg. It could happen in Lancaster. It could happen anywhere. Pay attention to what's going on.
And we're that's a great point, because we're right in the middle of 2-3 major cities. We're 45 minutes from Baltimore, hour and a half from Philly, 3 hours from New York. These are major cities, and they could be, I'm not saying for sure, they could be some of the main stations that were the shot callers of where this is of where this stuff is going on, or where they're being taken
harvested,
to.
or because I'm pretty sure they have holding facilities or campgrounds, or where a better place is in the middle of nowhere in Pennselsylvania. There's so many country roads, and you know what I mean. So I don't know for sure, but
if we knew, this wouldn't be such a mystery. All we know is that people are coming up missing.
It is vanishing and it's going down.
Right. And again, we don't want no one to disappear. We're just shining light on where the light isn't being shined on. Correct. So I want to make that crystal clear. I don't want no one, not that I really care, because I know this is about what I do. I can back up anything that I say, and also I know every other race takes care of their own. That's why Marcus Garvey had the book Race First. And it's in our good brother Will from the Hub, he was on last week, and he made that clear again, because I know the narrative from our own people and from others. Say, oh, he's racist, he don't like white people. He said, Everyone else takes care of their own, and they're not demonized behind it. But as soon as someone stands up and speaks up for us, then it's not a race issue, or you're only, no, everyone else speaks up for their own. Chinese people stick up for Chinese people, Asian people stick up for Asian. It is natural. It is natural for you to gravitate to your own, no matter the setting. They've even done studies on where they have a whole group of people, like in say it's a convention. Say you go into a convention about clothing or something, right? And you go there, you don't know who's going to be at the convention. You just know 400 or 500 people is there. I'll bet you, by your natural human instinct, if you walk into a room and it's 400 or 500 people there, I bet you're going to gravitate to someone who looks like you. Not because you hate anyone else, but that's what makes you most comfortable.
Right.
You're going to go right to who looks like you or who makes you feel most comfortable because it's just natural.
Right.
So this isn't about hating anyone or, he's only, no, I want no one to be missing. But we're shining the light on where the light hasn't been shined. How come all these black women have been missing for years and most recently, and no one's talking about it? How? And we're such a small percentage in this country. It's not happening by accident. So that's what this platform and this topic is about. It isn't that we're discarding anyone else's life or safety. I don't want anyone to be missing. But we're always left behind. Always. It's what it is. The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, that's my biggest issue is why no one is talking about all these missing people, period. You hardly ever hear about it. And for the number to be so great for black women and children is just, if you don't do no research on it, you might think, it's a couple hundred or, it's
And that's too many.
a couple people here and there, but 156,000 in this year alone is ridiculous.
And if anyone, you can always go back and see the replay. At the very beginning, we gave a news clip about black children are more likely to go missing. Yeah, check that out. And it talked about how black children are more likely to go missing than anyone else. So we're just shining the light on where the light hasn't been shined. So, and again, the call-in number is 717-846-5067. Thank you for those tuning in on Channel 16 Local Access TV. I know this is a rough topic, but it's the truth. That's what we do on this channel. We bring awareness and we talk about things that other people won't or don't want to or won't talk about. So this is real. I mean, I'm not behind it. We're just bringing awareness. What you got there, Mr. Hill?
Shayna Boo was basically saying the Willie Lynch syndrome as far as how, if anybody knows the history or who Willie Lynch was, he was a man that slave owners went to learn how to
better control the slaves.
How to beat slaves, how to put fear in slaves, how to make them the light skin versus the dark skin.
Make small differences, big differences.
Yeah,
control them mentally.
Yeah, mentally. And I tell my son all the time, because he said, if I was a slave back then, they would have had to kill me. There's no way. But slavery is 80% mental. They show you movies where you got to pick cotton or you got to do this, but slavery is mental. And hating yourself, killing your own kind, like the young lady Shayna Boo just said, doing anything for a small reward to jeopardize or hurt your own people. Thinking you're better because your skin is fair, thinking you're ugly because your hair is nappier, or that's all slave mentality. So yeah, what Willie Lynch did was basically taught these Southern slave owners how to control slaves, how to put fear in them, how you could have
trust, envy,
how you could have a plantation with 500 slaves, and 15 white men, and they control 400 to 500 people due to fear. It was even so bad that once slavery was over, you had some of them that didn't even want to leave, didn't even want to go. They were begging to stay.
Well, Harriet Tubman said, I saved 300, but I could have saved thousands more if they didn't know they were slaves. That was an actual direct quote from Harriet Tubman, connecting to the movie that just came out. She said, I saved hundreds, but I could have saved, thousands more, something like that. She said, if they only knew. They said, I ain't going nowhere. I got it good right here.
So, Shayna Blue was right. The Willie Lynch syndrome still, to this day, is very much alive. You will have somebody that might shoot up a whole party and kill his own people, and then when the officer arrives or the overseer arrives, they put their gun down and put their hands up. But when it's time to turn their gun on their own, they're more than willing. But that's a whole nother. I can get into that all day. That's a whole nother topic. But it's sad that whoever these people are behind these harvesting and trafficking that's going on, they are using our own brothers and sisters, and some white people too, but they are using basically our own brothers and sisters to grab these kids, to lure these kids. Like you just said not too long ago, not too many black kids would just walk up to a strange white man or strange Spanish man, but somebody that looks like them, that talks like them, that, hey, I got to cut without, might catch them off their square a little bit. So you just got to talk to your kids and, let them know, don't trust nobody right now.
That's an old tactic, putting us out there, to do their work. Again, in this book where I quoted about the doctor who is the father of gynecology, in this book, A Medical Apartheid, a very powerful book by Harriet Washington, she talks about in there, and I've talked about it many times before, since we're talking about organ harvesting, about the story of the Medical College of Georgia. The Medical College of Georgia, they were organ harvesting back in the late 1800s, and it was just found out in 1989. So in this medical college, which is still going on, which is still up and functioning right now, this is in 89, bro. Construction workers was doing construction work on the eastern wing of the college, in the Medical College of Georgia. This wing was unused for almost decades. When they went to the basement and started excavating to fix up the basement to make it part of the college, they found over 10,000 body parts and bones in the basement. It is actually a book that you can get outside of this book called Bones in the Basement, written by a white man by the name of Robert Blakely. These construction workers in 1989, not 1489, 1989 found 10,000 body parts in the basement. So they called the cops, they called archaeologists and doctors and all. Upon further investigation, 75% of those 10,000 body parts that they found were that of black people. So now they start digging more. They went into the records of the students back in the 1800s of the Medical College of Georgia, even though this was found in 1989. What they did was the medical students, because it's a medical college, back in the 1800s, there was no confidentiality. Like, I'm a therapist, I'm a counselor. Anything we do with clients, the first thing they have you sign is you will keep confidential.
Right.
So there was no confidentiality back then.
Right.
So meaning, if Miss Jones died of heart disease, they will put that in a paper. They will put it straight out in the paper. She died of heart disease. These medical students hired a former slave by the name of Grandison Harris to go dig up graves so they could do medical research. So this organ harvesting is nothing new. It was a slave by the name of Grandison Harris. South Carolina owned the rights to him, because remember, this is the 1800s.
Yeah.
Somehow Georgia got the rights to him. He became the janitor at the Medical College of Georgia. When they wanted to do medical research on the pancreas, the heart, the kidneys, they would look in the paper, because graveyards were segregated then. It was a graveyard by the name of Cedar Grove Cemetery in Georgia, and they would send this man, you can look it up, by the name of Grandison Harris, to go dig up graves, bring the corpse back to the college so they could do medical research. He dug up so many graves, his nickname was the Resurrection Man.
Wow.
His name was Grandison Harris. You can look this up. All you got to do is look up the grave robbing of the Medical College of Georgia. An exact year was 1887. They even have a picture of him with the graduating class of the Medical College of Georgia. It's a little black man way in the back of the picture, and his name was Grandison Harris, a former slave, and they called him the Resurrection Man. 10,000 body parts, 75% of them was of black people, and he was taking their corpse out the grave. And in the Medical College of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, got caught doing the same thing.
Wow.
So this is nothing. This is back in the 1800s. In the Medical College of Virginia, they found them doing that in the 1860s. And this is also in this book. There ain't no one making this stuff up. This ain't no racist talk. This is facts, big facts. You can look it up. So this is nothing new about the organ harvesting and the disrespect of our body. Someone on my page said genocide has been going on for hundreds, thousands of years. Cultures have been extinct. Example, Thanksgiving. Thank you. That's from our good brother, Eric Negron, and he's over in Puerto Rico right now. Yes. His YC Riz, is that our brother?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yes. All right. So, I mean, it is what, I know it's a rough truth, but I'm surprised the TV is still going. But I mean, it is what it is. We're not making this stuff up. No matter who's behind it, who's the victims, we're not making it up. We're just bold enough to speak on it. It is at an epidemic level.
Yes.
It's at an epidemic level. People, children, just coming up missing, and we don't want it to hit here and us be blindsided, by it, and we can't wait until, it hits
that
our
was my
front
whole
door.
reason coming on here tonight is to, try to give my city a little bit of preventive maintenance, a little bit of, just shine some light on it, like you said, shine some light on it, and let them know what's going on, because a lot of people don't know what's going on, or overlook it, or really don't think into it that hard, because there's so many distractions. You might see a missing girl come down your Facebook page at 8 o'clock in the morning, but by 5 o'clock in the evening, you're not really thinking about that no more. And
so much is going on.
Yeah, and you send your daughter off to the store for a loaf of bread, and she never comes back. You know what I mean?
It could happen.
It could happen.
We don't want it to happen. So for those tuning in on Channel 16 Local Access TV, I appreciate your patience. I know it's a rough topic, but it is what it is. You can look up anything that we're saying. I mean, it's factual. Thanks for tuning in. We will let you know if we have a show next Wednesday, which is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I don't celebrate holidays, but I respect those who do. So if I can get a guest in, I will still have the show as long as blood is pumping through my veins. If not, I will let you know who will come on the next show, which will be December the 4th, God willing. But are you willing to keep going on past the 9 o'clock hour?
Yeah.
Okay, for those on Facebook Live, stay with us. Our brother's going to keep rocking on, and on Channel 16, the show will end at 9 o'clock. But those on Facebook Live, our brother's willing to share some jewels and knowledge with us a couple more minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. Can you tell us about your clothing, apparel, and your new slogan, Safe?
Okay, with Safe, Streets Ain't For Everybody, the number one question that I get is, who are the streets for? Right? And the streets are for people like me that needed the streets to wake up to realize there's a bigger picture out here. With that being said, is some people, you just can't tell them that the stove is hot. If you touch it, it's going to burn yourself. So you got people that can take the streets and make a positive out of it. Streets ain't for everybody. Also, it's for people that we would say it's just cool to work a 9 to 5. It's okay to be a father. It's okay to have goals and go to college. That's what I tell the younger kids, because it's so hard for one child that might have 4 or 5 friends in the mix to tell his 4 or 5 friends that, yo, that ain't for me. Because he's worried about perception or how it's going to look. So I just came up with this slogan. Actually, me and my partner, CEO Riz, actually came up with the slogan, to be honest. Riz actually came up with the slogan, ran it past me. And I said, man, Riz, that's dope, that's powerful. You know, maybe we could shove this down the kid's throat and just let them know it's okay. That's basically what this shirt says. This shirt says it's okay to go to school, to be a father, to have goals, to not want to sell drugs, to not want to shoot nobody. It's okay to respect your father or somebody older than you.
Old school value.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I tell my kids all the time, build character. When you make a decision on how this decision is going to affect your character. You know, how people are going to look at you, how people are going to perceive you. You got so many people that's dead or in jail for just being followers, for thinking, you know, it's cool to be in the streets, but it really wasn't for them. So if we could just pump this slogan into the kids saying that, you know, streets ain't for everybody, it's okay to go this route. And, you know, if you choose to be in the streets and you want to be the biggest and baddest street guy that's around, then you also got to know the statistics on that. The streets is 1,000,000. The streets never lost. Everybody that goes that route either is dead or in jail. Everybody. So for you to think that, for you to think that you're that one person that's going to beat the streets, I mean, it's not possible.
Not wise. Man. That's a great point.
So the streets are 1,000,000. There's no one that lived the streets, played by the streets, that won. Everybody lost. You know, including myself, including friends that I know. You know, people know me. I did 7 years in the penitentiary. I don't like jail. You know, I haven't been back since. So I decided, you know, I'm going to find another way to be successful. I own 2 companies now. I work a 9 to 5. You know, it's a lot of craziness going on out here. So, you know, my suggestion is, you know, stay away from it. But this is my new brand, Safe. Streets ain't for everybody. We're doing pretty well right now. We're probably at about 400 or 500 T-shirts sold. We're probably at about 100 hoodies sold. We have jogging suits coming. We have dad hats coming. We got thermals coming. You know, we're just working. Shout out to everybody that that's a part of this, because it's not just me. It's not just Riz. You know, I have Denise that actually makes all this stuff up for me.
How can someone get it? I'm gonna get me one.
Well, you can either reach out to me and Riz on Facebook, or you can reach out to us on Instagram. We're actually working on a website that should be up and running soon. I got to get down here and get with my brother Nick Knight. He's going to help me get that up and running. I already spoke to him about it. It's just a matter of time for me getting down there, putting everything together. Making sure that it makes sense on me and Riz's side and makes sense on his side. He dropped a lot of jewels on me. Clothing lines are, especially African-American clothing lines, they really don't last that long. I think they give you like a year tops, but we've been, we're only 4 months old. We actually started this clothing line June 29th. I sold my first Safe T-shirt June 29th at the Trade and Boot Classic out the trunk of my car. A good brother of mine, Dominic Chapman, from the Chapman Group, he called me Saturday morning and said that he paid for a spot to have something on the tray and boo on the park. He said, I'm out of town. I'm not going to be able to use it. I don't want to waste it. You can have my spot. I called Wayne, told Wayne what Dominic said. Wayne said, ain't no problem. Yo, let me just double check with Dominic to make sure it's cool. He hit me right back and said, you good, bro. You know, set up and do you. We probably did about 100, 150 T-shirts in those 2 days on the park. Everybody was real supportive. Dominic never came back and said, hey, man, I heard you sold a lot of T-shirts. Give me some money or anything like that. He was just so happy that a positive message, a positive brand, knowing where I come from as a friend of his, is doing something different. I got a lot of support from Lou Rivera, Fred Walker. It was a lot of people that showed me love and support that day, and it just triggered off from there. Friends, families. Now we're going to the post office probably like 2-3 times a week, mailing off hoodies, mailing off T-shirts. The orders are getting bigger. I thank everybody for supporting the movement. Like I said, you can hit me on Facebook, Instagram. You can hit YC Riz on Facebook or Instagram, Starlight TV on Instagram, and put your order in. We'll mail it. The hoodies are $30. The T-shirts are $20.
The hoodies are 30, you said?
Yeah, or 30. Now the 2X and the 3X are 40 because they cost us more and cost us more to make. Also, if you are out of town and we have to mail it to you, it's like $11 for the shipping and handling. Me and Riz was paying the shipping and handling in the beginning, but when you get 10, 15, 8, 9, you know that $11 adds up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean? So $30 plus the shipping and handling. If you got Cash App, you can Cash App me the money. I usually don't take the Cash App money until I'm on my way to the post office. So I will, text you or call you and say, listen, your order's going out tomorrow. You can Cash App me the money. Once I get the Cash App, I go straight to the post office and mail your stuff off.
Right.
But yeah, Safe Streets ain't for everybody. It's doing real well. It's a positive message. And I'm just basically telling the kids that it's okay to, be positive. It's okay to stay out of jail. It's okay to have respect for older people. You don't have to be in the streets to be cool because the streets is an illusion. What you see is not really there. The people you see on TV in these rap videos with guns and they're not really doing that in real life. That's just, some of these kids can't figure out the difference between.
Can't differentiate.
Differentiate between video, song, real life, fairy tale.
Right. I seen someone make a Facebook post that a lot of these rappers, their children are going to Ivy League schools, and they telling you to be in the streets.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
that's a fact.
So,
you probably have no gangster rappers from Ice Cube to Jada Kiss to Rick Ross to whoever you think of. You probably have no gangster rappers that have kids in the streets. Living that life. You might have a few. You might have a few because
even themselves have actually lived that life.
Correct. Yeah,
or less their children.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's a lot of what sinister. They call the young boys say capping. Yeah, it's a lot of capping going on where they make themselves seem like they are what they are. But for me and the people I've been around and the people that know me, they know that I was actually there. I was actually in the streets. I was actually in prison. I actually lost my mother when I was in prison. I took more losses with the streets than wins. You know what I mean? And everything that I have now, I gained from being positive, having positive energy around me. I don't deal with negative energy too much at all. If I get a negative vibe, I don't care if you're a friend, a cousin, a girlfriend. If the energy ain't right, I don't need to be around it. Because the way my mind is set up and my goals are set up, I need positive energy. I'd rather sit around people that can help me get to the next level than people that's just going to sit around and gossip and talk about this and this, that, and the third. It's not getting me nowhere. I call it barbershop talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Definitely
yeah, Safe
understand.
Streets ain't for everybody, man. If you haven't got a hoodie or a T-shirt, you know, get one. And
I'm gonna be getting with you, man. You know, I'll be definitely getting with you, and I'm gonna keep, just supporting you. You know, I hope by this interview, not only did we, because I'm getting the inboxes of people saying, man, it's a great topic. I wish some people would have called in, but you know, maybe people are just taking it in. Maybe they don't know what to say. Maybe it's the shock of the hour. Like, I don't know, what to say other than we know they're not making this stuff up. But I'm getting inboxes saying that, great topic. But hopefully not only did we, come up with some small solutions and give some people some preventions of this, but hopefully we gave some,
shine some light.
Shine some light on
wake
what
people
you're doing
up.
with Safe.
Yeah.
Have you ever reached out to any schools? Now I know you can't probably go in schools and advertise and sell.
I reached out to.
But what about the message?
I reached out to a good friend of mine, Clovis Gallen. Clovis is the head coach of the York High Bearcats.
Right.
I reached out to him, asked him would he have a problem with the kids wearing the Safe T-shirts and warm-ups before the games. He said no, there's no problem. So me and Riz, we're going to donate. I think he want 12. He got to send me the sizes, but we're going to donate 12 Safe T-shirts to the York High Bearcat basketball team. We also have kids in Votech. We have the York Votech edition of the Safe, which is a Foster green hoodie with white lettering. We have kids out there that's they've been taking orders. Shout out to my man Brian Peacham. Him and his daughter, they've been modeling his daughter and his daughter's best friend have been modeling the Votech edition. And that's where we're at right now. Like I said, we're only 4 months old. Eventually, it might trickle down to York Suburban. It might trickle down to Red Line. Shout out to my boy Blick and B More. He just called me, spoke to him yesterday. We got the orange and black Baltimore Orioles edition. He got some kids down there, like 15, 16 kids that are interested in it. So we're gradually, hitting other cities. Like I said, we've been in the first city I took it to was Atlanta. Did great in Atlanta. Left Atlanta, went to Orangeburg, South Carolina. Went to Columbia, South Carolina. Went to Charlotte. Left Charlotte, went to Brooklyn. We still have, York, Lancaster right here, Harrisburg. So there's no telling where it'll be a year from now. We're only 4 months old, but shout out to everybody that supported, everybody that supports the brand and supports the message.
No doubt, man. Well, this has definitely been a powerful show. I knew it would be. Not the most comfortable thing, but again, truth isn't always comfortable. A lot of times it isn't.
Yeah, most of the time it isn't.
So hopefully it was some benefit to someone, especially those who, like you said, are almost totally in the dark to this epidemic of missing, men, women, and children, but particularly black women and children. We were just shining a light on where the light hasn't been shined. And it is that an epidemic. If one person is missing, it's a problem.
Right.
More or less 64,000.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Ain't no one talking about, but you're talking about, like you said, all these other, distractions. So, we had to put it out there just like that, and we didn't supply those statistics. The CDC
No, everything we talked about
and they
today.
specifically said 60. They didn't say 64,000 people. They said 64,000 black women. So we're just reiterating what's already been put out there.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear this race thing.
Yeah,
No.
anybody can they can Google or look up anything we spoke on tonight, and it's there in black and white.
The murder of Jason Smith. Remember I gave you that information?
Yeah, I wrote that down last night when I was talking to you on the phone. You can look that up on YouTube. Everything is right there. one more thing I want to say before we leave. I spoke to Wayne earlier. I was at the dentist, and I was texting Wayne, and he's having the Thanksgiving dinner. He said he has everything but sides. So if anybody want to help out with this Thanksgiving dinner, Saturday at 1:30, I think he needs the food there. You can inbox him. If you want to make rice, string bean, any type of side dish for this Thanksgiving dinner giveaway to help feed people, reach out to Wayne as soon as possible so he can know exactly what you're bringing. With that being said, man, I appreciate you having me on here, man. You know, the Hour of Power, Starlight TV together should be powerful, should reach a lot of people.
Right.
And just be informative, man. Pay attention to your surroundings, talk to your kids, and watch out what's going on.
Right. Okay, well, sit tight, man, and I'm going to sign off, and thank you again for coming on, man.
Yeah,
Always,
appreciate
man.
it.
All right, man.
I thought we was going to get a phone call.